Hi, my name is Rita Simon, and this video is for you if you are about to start a new relationship, if you are out there to date again, but you are so worried that you had been through so many relationships that didn't really work out, and you don't really know how else you could do, how else you could actually see the dating process in order to finally end up these. Um, Cycles when you feel disappointed and things are just not really going on your way. Many of the videos are going to offer you things to look in the partner, and my video is going to be different. That actually helps you identify your own blind spots as well, that comes from your childhood. So you can actually work on yourself so you can see your own triggers and your own blind spots that can actually make you attracted subconsciously to the wrong partner. So here are my tips. The very first one is going to be attachment styles that are actually coming from your own childhood with the opposite sex parent. And whatever unresolved childhood trauma you have, your own nervous system, your subconscious, that's your limbic system, those are the emotions, are going to attract you subconsciously. You are not aware to the partner who is very likely to be similar to that parent. So your own childhood trauma can be relived and it keeps repeating until you resolve it. So if you are unaware, it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but at the very core, the wound is going to be the same. And your subconscious is not thinking, it's not logical. It tries to attract you to the same trauma over and over again. You created with your parent, then that kept repeating in your different partners, and it keeps repeating until you understand it, you recognize it, and you learn. So it's very important to understand the 4 different types of attachment types and identify yourself so you can heal before you even get into the new dating. The second one is going to be social norms. So you have to think back. What were the norms when you grew up in your society? What did you observe as a child? Because your brain is not fully developed until your early 20s. And the earlier you see certain things, the deeper it is going to be engraved. It's a very, very deep belief system in you. And if your society saw males as a higher value and females as agreeable, or males who have to do everything and females who have to have children, or any type of belief that is going to be very deeply in you. So you have to really think back and then reevaluate and see it objectively that, okay, what's reality, what is objective, how it should be, and reprogram those very old patterns so they don't influence you anymore. The third one is going to be understanding different personality types. And the way to do that is that you start reading about different personality types within a test. And it helps you understand yourself to see your own blind spots so you can actually work on yourself. And secondly, you also get a more realistic worldview because sometimes we actually imagine 2, 3 different, very opposite personalities in one that actually never exist together. So many times the problem is that we don't have a clear understanding what are the possibilities and what are realistic and what are not. Number 4 is going to be, were your parents strict? Did you have to follow the rules? Because if the answer is yes, it's a very, very big warning sign for you that you are very likely to avoid your own emotions. And if you remember for the 4 attachment styles, That's going to be in the avoidant attachment style. That if any complex issue is coming up, you're more likely to go away or not even raise your voice, and you become more agreeable with the partner. And because your parents didn't trust you and they didn't teach you to have self authority, you just had to always follow what they told you. It is very likely that you won't trust yourself either. So you are going to be more attracted to a person who is more dominant and is going to tell you what to do, like your parents did. And on the second hand, you are also going to be more likely not to trust others easily either, because you couldn't trust your parents either because you didn't have a trusting relationship. It was control and you follow the rules. So you have to be very aware of this blind spot and build up your own self authority and be careful what can trigger you. The fifth one is going to be the opposite of the previous one, where the parents are overly protective and they are extremely helpful. They do everything for the child. And the problem with this is, again, that there is no self authority. If the parents behave this way, the child is unable to learn how to solve problems and expects that there will be someone who is going to do everything for her or for him. So you have to be very careful and think back, because if you had these type of parents, you can be actually very unrealistic with the partner you want, because maybe you want just as much as from the parents that they did everything for you and you were on a pedestal. So you have to really think back, be objective, and if you see this pattern in you, you have to understand what is realistic expectation from a partner and in a relationship. The sixth one is going to be very important, not only in the dating phase, but also throughout the whole relationship with your partner and with other people as well. And the first one of these three things you should look for is, do I feel hurt? Do I feel understood and accepted? And a clear sign of not being heard is, of course, when they overtalk you or they don't want to accept the way you see the world, your perceptions. They try to keep saying, like, you are wrong, you should think this, and they don't even listen to what you want to say. And relationships are not about being right or being wrong, it's about understanding why do you see it or where do you see it. And it's not a competition who is right and who is wrong, and it's a clear sign that the relationship is going to have bigger problems in the future. The second one is going to be how the other person is actually handling difficult, stressful situations. Because if the person becomes very abusive, aggressive, or becomes very avoidant and very shy, both of them are unhealthy and you are going to have problems later on in the future. And when I keep bringing these three different things up, it doesn't mean that once or twice. What I mean is that it comes up in a pattern and it's actually a continuous behavior, not a one-time event. And the third one is going to be your individual reality. So your emotions, your subjective reality. Is it accepted? Like, for example, if the person keeps saying that, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. That's not how you should do. And all of these things. So the person becomes very controlling and keeps telling you how you should be. That's, again, a very, very questionable thing. The seventh one is going to be the too fast, too soon. And it's when the other person, the partner, is talking about, oh, how our children would look like, or we should look for some house where we could imagine our lives. What do you think how our wedding day should be? And it's very, very early on in the relationship where you barely know each other. And it's a huge, huge, huge red flag because you don't know each other. So, what are you basing on a decision to do such a huge commitment? And I'm not talking about like 7 years in the relationship and the other person thinks that, oh my God, it's still too early. I'm talking about realistic things because usually when a person does it way too early, it can mean two things. Either the person is very insecure and it's kind of a little bit immature thing to do and tries to control and possess the other person, that I want to be really sure. Or the other thing is the other person just keeps saying these things to attract a very insecure person who already has these ideas that, oh, I have to find the one very fast, and within a few weeks, I have to see if we can have a life together and children together. So you have to give time in order to see if you are a good fit. The eighth one is very important to think back. Were your parents abusive? Because if they were, it's very likely that you are going to tolerate abuse easier because that's what you got used to. And when your partner is abusive, you are going to bring back old thinking patterns that, oh, I deserved it. And you are going to look for excuses for your partner why he or she actually hurt you, because that's what your parents did, like hurting you, that, oh, I'm doing this because of this and that. And many times parents actually say that, oh, I'm hurting you or punishing you because I love you. But you have to remember, a person who loves you doesn't abuse you. So you have to really think back and be objective with your own patterns. The ninth one is going to be your belief system that is coming from your childhood, and it actually also develops predominantly in your teenage life. From your childhood, it's going to be cartoons and religion. If you had religions such as, ah, you have to just accept everyone, you have to forgive, you have to be a good person. If you are a forgiving person, you are a good person. It doesn't matter what the other person does. So basically, what it tells you that don't think, don't analyze the situation. You just automatically accept no matter how much abuse you get, because that means to be a good person. And you have to learn to respect yourself and create boundaries. And if somebody hurts you and abuses you, you push the other person away and detach the other person from your life. And cartoons tell you a very similar story as well, especially like Beauty and the Beast, that it doesn't matter how ugly the beast is and how terribly the beast treats the girl, the beauty, because she just keeps giving love and love and love and love. And we can see the same pattern even in movies. At the end, there is going to be a huge shift, that because the ugly person got a lot of love, finally it's just, okay, now I feel secure and I'm going to reveal the true self, which is going to be the complete opposite of this ugliness. And it's very damaging for girls. And if you actually look back into history, that original story, The Beauty and the Beast, was created for little girls so they would accept arranged marriage a lot easier. So you have to be very careful, because these stories can really reprogram your brain, especially when you are sitting in front of the TV. Your critical filter is off. So basically, your subconscious is getting reprogrammed if you keep watching the same type of movie over and over. And the other thing you have to think about is how love and romance is described in movies. And in many times we have in these very, very unhealthy thoughts like, you are the one, I can't live without you, you complete me, and all of these ups and downs in the relationship are actually described as very romantic. So just think back how realistic these things and what is actually a mature relationship look like and what an immature relationship looks like. And many times what you see in movies, it's actually a very immature way of seeing a relationship, but it has to be dramatic. Otherwise, we wouldn't watch them. They wouldn't be interesting enough. The last one is going to be values and interests. And I'm not talking about, does the other person like to go to the cinema? I'm talking about the things they value in life. For example, if someone is very career oriented, you have to be very careful if the other person pays enough attention to the relationship. And if the other person pays too much attention to the relationship, then the other person can be too exhausting, too possessive, because the other person doesn't have an outside life. So he or she is going to expect the partner to give all that attention that they don't receive from going out with friends, having a career, and have some hobbies that the other person does on its own. So you have to pay attention also on yourself as well. Do you have a life where you have your own hobbies that you like to do on your own? You have your own friends you can depend on. You have a career that you enjoy and it's fulfilling. And also relationship, like enough time for relationship, and it has to be balanced in your life, and on the other person has to have somewhat balanced as well. I really hope these 10 tips greatly helped you, and if I left something out, just leave a comment below, and if you enjoyed it, just follow for more. Thank you.